client, Mr. Brian Martin. Who is Brian Martin? You will learn in the testimony that he's a young man dedicated to doing a good job running a computer network. No matter what the government may suggest, he was no lone wolf in his endeavors. His boss's boss, the organization for which he works, told him early on in his employment that it was his job to monitor his network. And this particular organization wanted him to monitor it in order to root out what they saw as the evil of pornography, and he did it well. And so what we're really left to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is who owns your network? Is your network something that you are allowed to run and monitor according to your wishes that are consistent with what your organization wants? And I'm not talking about rogue things where you're trying to root out people having affairs. No, we're talking about if something fundamentally offends your values and your value system, what are you allowed to do with your network? And that's the question. The government has one answer. The defense will present its own answer. It's up to you as the jurors when you get your charge from the judge to decide the answer to that question. The other thing I want to focus on is you saw in the indictment that was presented earlier that there are 3 charges in this case. My client, Brian Martin, is accused of intercepting communications of the senator and then using and disclosing them. And I want you to keep those 3 things distinct in your mind the entire trial. The judge will tell you at the end what they mean, but every time the government puts up a witness, ask yourself, does this go to interception, does this go to use, or does this go to disclosure? More to the point, who gave the reporter Ryan Bulat these photos? I think I'm going to come back to you during closing argument and make a pitch that it just hasn't been proven. You are also going to meet people of strong values, people you may disagree with, but this isn't about values. This isn't about whether or not you like or dislike the agenda of the person that's on the stand. It's a fundamental question: who owns the network? Who owns your property? Who can protect your rights? Where are those limits? It's likely at the end of this case you're going to find that the government and the defense agree more than they disagree about the facts. Pay close attention to where we disagree. Thank you for your service. When you hear the charge for the judge, the case is yours. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bankston, would you like to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call O.V. Carroll to the stand.
Mr. Carroll, would you raise your left hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pain and penalty of perjury?
I do.
You may be seated.
By the way, if you all have any questions during this, go ahead and write them down and get them to Kay. All right? Our bailiff, thank you.
I'll examine from over here, I suppose.
Yes.
Yes, can you give your name and your job title, please?
My name is O.V. Carroll. I'm a special agent and senior computer forensic examiner for the Office of Special Investigations.
Okay. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Your Honor, I'd like to remind you that Agent Carroll has been pre-certified as an expert witness in digital media examination and network security practices and principles.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please tell me, Agent Carroll, how were you first involved in this case?
I was notified by the OSI headquarters and asked to investigate after they had received a report from the senator's office that emails and photographs sent by the senator, Senator Gasm, from his laptop computer had been reported in the Washington Compost, and they suspected someone had broken into his computer.
Okay. And how did you proceed with your investigation?
I immediately went to interview Senator Orgasm and learned that...
I believe that is Senator Gasm.
My apologies. Learned that the emails were sent from his laptop computer to his staffer during his attendance at a conference in Las Vegas. The conference was the Society for Morals Under Threat, a smut conference. During the period of May 10th through 15th, again using the conference's wireless network. And those emails were subsequently appeared in the Washington Compost verbatim.
Okay. And what did you do then?
Well, after interviewing the senator, I imaged his computer and later conducted a forensic exam. I found the 2 emails and the 5 images that were published in the Washington Compost, and I further found that there was no information that suggested that his computer system had been compromised.
And what was the next step you took in your investigation?
After the interview and the examination, I interviewed the staffer, Kimberly Lovelace, who had received the 2 emails from the senator with the image attachments. And Ms. Lovelace stated that she did not reveal or share these emails or images with anyone.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd like to introduce into evidence and publish to the jury stipulation regarding Ms. Lovelace's testimony, that being Government Exhibit 13.
Do you have any objection?
No, Your Honor.
The exhibit is hereby entered into evidence and published to the jury.
And I'll very briefly point out the relevant bits here. If called as a witness, Kimberly Lovelace would testify that she is the communications director for the office of Senator Damon Gasm. She received an email from Senator Gasm on May 12, 2006 at approximately 5 p.m. The email contained an attached picture called sheep_defile.jpg. This file depicted Senator Gasm and a sheep. She received an email from Senator Gasm on May 14, 2006 at approximately 11 a.m. The email contained a zip file attachment. One of the images depicted Senator Gasm wearing her bra and lipstick, and she had sole possession of her laptop and never revealed these emails to anyone, somewhat understandably. So after your interview with Ms. Lovelace, what was the next step in your investigation?
I imaged and conducted a forensic exam on Ms. Lovelace's laptop computer. I found that I identified the emails in question that appeared in the Washington Compost. I identified through the forensic exam that they had been received on that computer through SMTP using the Thunderbird email client. And reviewing the email headers from the 2 emails, identified the IP address that the email had come from, originated from. I did a lookup on the IP address and identified that the IP was registered to the Coalition for Moral Order, the CMO conference. Other than that, I found no other information that suggested the system was compromised.
Okay, and what did you do next?
I went to interview the reporter, Ryan Bullitt, and asked where he got the emails from, and he refused to answer.
Okay. After corresponding with the reporter, what did you do?
I went to the Senate office building and contacted the system administrators, and they consented to allowing me to image all their network servers and all the senators' staff computers.
And what did you conclude from that analysis?
Well, I found nothing to suggest that any of the systems had been compromised, and subsequently began to suspect that the interception of the emails perhaps had occurred on the Coalition for Moral Order conference network.
And how did you proceed after reaching that conclusion?
Well, I immediately went to the CMO and contacted the conference CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer. That was Samantha Jones. And she advised that there was only one system administrator, and his name was Brian Martin.
Do you see that person in the courtroom today?
I do. He's sitting right over there in the defendant's chair.
For the record, the witness did identify the defendant.
The record so reflects.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They were very cooperative. The CMO was very cooperative and willing to consent to allowing us to search, but they cited company policy requiring us to obtain a search warrant, of which I did.
Okay, and once you obtained a search warrant?
Went back to the network, or to the CISO, contacted her, and then imaged all the servers. Found that they had a small network with 6 Cisco, or a small Cisco network with 6 servers and a small wireless guest network for their conference attendees.
Okay. If you could perhaps, actually, where is the evidence binder? Do we have the evidence binder anywhere?
Just that imaginary pile to his left.
Okay. Could you flip through that imaginary pile, please?
There you go.
To tab 1. Can
Yes.
you identify that document, please?
That's my forensic report.
Okay. Your Honor, we'd like to move into evidence the forensic report, Government Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
The exhibit has been admitted into evidence.
Okay. And what did your examination reveal?
Well, I imaged the 6 servers and examined the switch configuration and began my analysis, and my attention quickly focused on the main network server, a Solaris 9 system.
And your examination of the Solaris 9 system?
Well, I reviewed all the system binaries and verified that they had all were legitimate system binaries, and they all matched known good binaries and had not been modified or Trojanized.
How did you confirm that they had not been modified or Trojanized?
I verified an MD5 checksum on the system with clean, known Solaris binaries.
Okay. Was there anything else notable from your examination?
Well, I examined the root shell history and discovered that someone who was logged in as root had run a command called moral decency that was located in the ops local bin directory.
Okay. Moral decency. Are you familiar with this command?
No, but I did discover that it was a script containing 3 commands, a snoop, chaos reader, and flesh reader.
Okay. I'm a simple country lawyer, so you'll have to step me through this, please. What is Snoop?
Snoop is a built-in Solaris package sniffer that is run in promiscuous mode.
Okay. Actually, let's back up and let's go ahead and let's see. Could you flip to tab 2, please? And do you recognize that document?
I do.
And what is that?
That is my results from my exam.
Okay. Government moves to for the admission of Exhibit 2, Government's Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
No objection.
Publication to the jury. Can the witness see the slide? Okay.
Yes, I can.
So I'm sorry, could you repeat your answer? What is Snoop?
Snoop is a built-in Solaris package sniffer, which was run in promiscuous mode.
Promiscuous mode. Does that mean that the sniffer can see all of the traffic?
Well, no, not necessarily. Typically, on a switched network, you can only see traffic destined for your particular computer. But when I examined the switch, I discovered that someone had mirrored the main uplink port spanning all the ports so that they could see all the traffic on the entire network.
All of the traffic, okay. Can you please describe the second step in the script you mentioned, chaos reader? And before you do that, could we would move to admit Exhibit 3, Government's Exhibit 3, and publish to the jury?
Any objection?
Nah, go ahead.
Perhaps for the court's edification, you could perhaps describe what Exhibit 3 is and have the witness
Certainly.
lay some foundation.
Could you please turn to tab 3 in your imaginary binder and identify
Next slide.
that document?
Next slide. Yes, that's the switch configuration showing that they had mirrored the main uplink port and that they could see, by doing that, it was routed to this computer system that could then see all the traffic on the entire network.
Okay. And next, could you please flip to tab 4 in your imaginary binder and identify that?
I think we're going to probably suspend the rules of evidence for a moment. Go ahead and show us.
Chaos reader.
Okay. So can you please describe the third step in the script you described? Flesh reader?
Chaos Reader was the second step, but that was the one that takes, and what Chaos Reader does is it takes all the raw packets from the Snoop capture and then reassembles the package into their original sessions and then organizes them and dumps them into a directory.